Hello, this is Jer, playing Oxygen Not Included. I just want to start off with thanks to Terracom, one of the commenters in the last video mentioning about the Atmo suit, which is essentially the fact that if you have two of these skills or the exosuit training, you effectively don't have, it says exosuit penalty reduction, but I guess that works out to either no effect or very little difference essentially between a suit being worn or a dupe just walking without it, if they have those two skills. And the other thing is, apparently these Atmo suits can last a full cycle. So some people even have them outside the bedroom area and just get the dupes to wear them all day long. It's probably not going to make that change this particular base, but I thought that was really interesting to know. So in a future basis, I probably would have brought the Atmo suits, assuming that I'm at the point where I can give the exosuit skills out very close to the exit of the base and not worry about pushing oxygen. Because right now I've got this oxygen-based system, because in the last episode I made this oxygen room. So I've got all these pumps pumping in oxygen, and 3 different lines of oxygen feeding the base. Right now it's just going to the center area of the base, but because I don't have Atmo suits very close to the base, I'm going to have to push oxygen in various different places. So right now, I guess we can get rid of this oxygen diffuser as an example. And I will put a gas vent right here. I'm going to do that in various other places. Anyway, there's that. What are we going to do in this episode? Probably several things. One of which I think the hydrogen is building up uncomfortably high, because Smart Battery is telling these hydrogen generators not to run because we have a lot of power being produced. So I either need to throw it out, or there's also the possibility of cooling. Maybe I will experiment with that first. Alright, well, let's get started then. Another thing I plan to do is just clean up the mess of piping that I have, because this is giving me nightmares. So while I'm having my dupes build out this hydrogen line, I'll be down there and see if I can figure out how to clean this up a bit. Just put in a little change here on the system I made last time. Now I've got 2 hydrogen sensors with an AND gate and a filter rather than just one. I figured that hydrogen area here is getting a little bit thick, so bringing these up at least 1 tile may help a little bit with that situation. But now to deal with the excess amount of hydrogen. Right now they're just being burned, but let's store this for other purposes, because we don't really need power production. And this is something else I guess I can clean up. This is the old oxygen system, which was supplying oxygen to the Atmo suits. I guess that can now go. If I destroy this, this is actually going to leak out oxygen and may cause overpressure. So instead of doing that, I'm going to let this thing drain out and put a gas vent so it slowly drains out so no one gets popped eardrums. In the last episode, I had this area as I was trying to experiment stopping meteorites. It did not work out so well, so I'm going to tear this down and come up with an alternate plan. Shout out to a Death 1 for noticing this thing that was going on. This aquatuner's not running. The reason is because the water going out is not in priority over here. The other aquatuner doesn't have a problem because I'm outputting it here and then sending it out. So I'll need to make a slight change. Just shows you the smallest little detail that can happen in this game if you don't have everything just right. So I'll go and change this now. So the addition of a single bridge right here makes all the difference, allowing this water to leak out and having the aquatuner actually function, because I am definitely going to need both aquatuners running for certain periods of time, like right now. So very thankful for noticing that this guy effectively wasn't doing anything for a while. So I've activated the anti-entropy thermonullifier that is taking hydrogen and producing a little bit of cooling. put a temperature gauge here to shut off the process of hydrogen going into it when it gets to a certain degree of temperature. So this is going to be a future source of cooling. That's just going to supplement my other cooling sources. Over on top of the base, I built this rocket platform. I want to put in a clearing, or a spot rather, for Radbolt engines. I don't have the research for it, but I've got lots of Radbolts and databanks, so that should be in soon. But I'm going to put a series of Radbolt engines right here. But I want to make sure they're also protected, so that's why I'm building this zone up here. So I've cleaned up my pipes, my gas pipes, so it is much easier to see what's going on. I've got a natural gas line leading into a gas range. A new hydrogen line leading from my oxygen room. One is providing hydrogen to power the other asteroid, and the other is going up to this cooling station. And I'm going to initially pump out the hydrogen here, and then once this hydrogen is gone, I'll be able to crack open this area, not need to separate the two. You can see I've got a carbon dioxide line going up to the rockets, and I've got the 3 oxygen lines that are feeding in from here. So much better for me to understand what was going on. This second line is an old CO2 line. I'll just leave that one alone. I've got another CO2 line leading from my polymer press. Okay, so I should be able to breathe a little bit easier with understanding what's going on gas-wise. Let's now have a second transit tube access in the base area. This is at the bottom here. So the dupes can either go in from either of these 2 points, just increasing the speed at which they can get around. Actually, come to think of it, I might want to even put now some exits for this in various spots. Maybe I will start that now. I just realized that the transit tube access is also an exit. Always put in separate exit pieces here, and just realized those are not needed, so I'm taking those out. So it took a little bit of steel, but I built this bunker tile system that's going to prevent the cool slush geyser here from being filled on top of with regolith, as well as the path for the actual water to actually get to the home base. I have the second layer here, and the idea for this is just to get this to be a vacuum, so when the hot material lands here, it's not going to bleed down into the base, at least not in this section. Now, just starting the construction on this side so that the polluted cool slush geyser is also protected. Get a pump here at the very top of the base that's looking for hydrogen, and if any hydrogen does get up here, it's just going to pump it out in space, just so that excess hydrogen doesn't start to fill up. There's none right now, but I'm going to be cracking this at this point, so that's going to take care of the little bit hydrogen that is there. I probably should disable or even get rid of this guy altogether then. Digging into this area here, I'm going to try my hand at some wild farming. I'm going to put some wild slate wheat all along this line. I have to do some cooling too, but be able to use this plus an aqua tuner, and we'll see how this all goes. I'll need some pips too, so I'm going to bring a pip or 2 over from this world, because I've lost all my pips that I brought over earlier. At least I think I have. I know you can search for pip eggs, or critter eggs, but I don't know if you can actually search for critters. I assume that all my pips are gone, so I'll have to do some pip ranching as well. Starting the construction of a new room. This is going to be where the pips are going to live. I'm going to put in some trees for them to be able to eat. We'll put in a grooming station so we can up the amount of population. Because if we want wild anything, you want pips or cuddle pips. So we've got bunker tiles put up here, just a few little tiles down here, and this is going to be fully closed off, protecting these 2 geysers from meteorites. And the other thing I put in recently is I upgraded the circuitry to conductive wire. Just so if I want to expand the amount of power that's produced here, I can do that. So I only have 2 Cuddle Pip eggs. So I'm going to build this incubator and just run that for a short period of time while these 2 eggs hatch. It didn't take long for Cuddle Pip to be born. Trying to convince them to pick up this arbor acorn and plant it right here. So notice my polluted water source where I'm feeding these guys here, pinch of pepper plants, getting a little bit low, so I'm going to dig out a second one of these. Also going to use, destroy you while I'm here. Also going to use that to grow a tree in this zone. Oh, there is a second Cuddle Pip. Still waiting for them to plant something here, but I'm a little bit worried about them starving. So I want to plant one tree here and have that available for these to eat while they plant some wild trees in these zones over to the far right of their stable. This is the zone I chose to get the polluted water from. It's going to have an intense amount of polluted oxygen, so I've got several of these guys to convert that to oxygen. We'll get in there soon and build a pump. So we've got this new pump here, taking the polluted water from this zone. I've got a pipe sending this all up this way and around the base to go towards my farm. This also has a stop over here to feed this tree. So I want this one to grow really quickly so these guys will have a food source. But I'm not seeing them pick up anything or plant anything, and I'm wondering if that's because they won't plant anything in granite. I know there are certain materials they can't get things into. Hardness very firm. Oh, that's what hardness firm. Okay, I may have to come up with an idea here to make some tiles for trees, or wild trees. So one thing I've learned is regolith may not necessarily harm your rockets. It will harm your rocket platform and ladders, and some is on the way. I forgot to power this zone, so these doors are going to close pretty quickly, but hopefully the dupes are going, or this one won't close quickly if that would be having power. Also exposed on this side, and yeah, incoming object. So I gotta send a signal here to close this. Also, this rocket platform potentially may be exposed. In this case, I think it might make more sense just to destroy it rather than risk it having any damage. I can always rebuild it later on. Excellent. Good work, dupes. So just making some tiles with these doors, manual airlock. Quickest way I know to make just a tile that pips can actually put something in. So that's copper ore that I'm making that out of. That's firm. And that's something that the pips can actually plant. Something I want them to plant from right to left. So I'm going to put some ladders above the first 2. So that will encourage the pips to plant something right here. And let's just check on the actual tree that is in existence. That's a 29% grown. Not enough for the pips to be able to, or cuddle pips rather, to be able to eat. This one's hungry. Hold on. We just have to wait for this tree to grow. I was just thinking to myself, didn't we have more than one of you? And then I realized, hovering over here, we've got a pipsqueak that was built over a tile. I wish that was not a thing that would ever happen. If the dupe ever created a tile here and there's a spot for the critter to go to, it would be really nice if the critter just went there. Anyway, just a thought. And we are being attacked with regolith. Thank goodness we have bunker doors and tiles in place, so generally expecting that we're going to be fine. But yeah,
I guess when I do open these doors, I'm going to have some regolith that's going to fall down. As long as I don't have any that's going to fall down right here, that should be alright. It appears that when you build this at the top, it can only stack 2 pieces of material. Brought my base cooling line to the highest spot it's ever been. Visiting this guy here because the temperature in this zone is getting a little bit warm. So I thought that'd be a little bit of a good idea to make sure that our research station is cooled off. So the Culpip have planted a tree right here. So that's one wild tree. Still have the farm tree for them to eat. But I'm going to destroy this ladder and get them to plant a tree right here. And eventually get 3 of them. So right now I'll need polluted water for these guys to be able to survive, but eventually the natural trees will mean I won't have to provide any polluted water for them. So I've built a Radbolt engine, and I've got Radbolts shooting into it, charging it up. Don't have the top to this rocket available yet, but that is all going to be built in time. I think that's going to be it for today, though. So that is a pretty good spot. Actually, before I forget, let's flick a few more of these on. That's just going to allow that Radbolt engine to charge all that quicker when I come back later on. So what else did I achieve here other than the Radbolt engine? I've got greater protection area in this zone. Digging out a spot way over here. I want to have some wild farms. It's going to be wild slate wheat. I've expanded my transit tubes all across the base, and I can see that an oil slicker here is causing some mess with our oil. Oh no, I've got some polluted water here. I've got to go in and fix that. Okay. Maybe I'll do that before I leave for today. What else did I do? I've got a pump down here. So actually, I gotta think, that's only gonna last so long. I have to think about the long-term longevity of these guys, or where I'm gonna get more polluted water. Oh, and the pips. If I want wild farms, of course. Oh, there's 2 trees. I can destroy this. I'll get the 3rd one. Where are we at? Over 1 million calories of food. I'm sure we've got tons of liquid. I've never actually run out of liquid in this zone. And slowly just accumulating water from the other world. Oh, speaking of the other world, that was some of the things that I've done. Don't have any dupes over here at the moment, but I have got this bunker protection area from regolith here and here, so that these guys will continue to be able to provide more water. Not that I'm short that for the time being. And I think I cleaned up a little bit of the gas pipes. It was a mess before, absolute mess to look at and try to figure out. It's much better than it was before. Well, thank you everyone for watching, and thanks anyone for the suggestions and improvements and likes and subscribed, and I will see you in a future video where I'll continue to explore both this world, or this asteroid, as well as now that we have Radbolt engines, the actual universe at large. So look forward to that. See you next time.